Analytics helps you to see the patterns, to see what's important.
It puts the right data in the right hands at the right time.
I do consider this to be a real step change.
It's an opportunity that we can't afford to miss.
It goes to the heart of what we're here for.
We share, we work together, and we improve what we're doing.
We need to get faster at getting better.
Because every person is unique and needs to feel at home at the OU.
The Open University has a vast amount of information about how its students learn. Our vision for this project is to strategically focus on the data that matters so that we can recruit, retain, progress and complete our students. We're using the concept of Schoen's reflective practitioner framework for action, in action and on action, and this gives us a dynamic way in which to work with analytics. We have a plan, it's for 3 years, but there are both short-term and long-term actions within it.
So the use of analytics will give us much greater insight into which learning designs work for students and potentially which learning designs work for different types of students. It's important because we need an evidence-based approach. First of all, we must ask the right questions so that we're collecting the right data and generating insight that we can act upon. Once we've communicated that insight and taken our actions, we must evaluate the success of those interventions.
My work is to design and implement evidence-based research experiments to try to understand which interventions work for which student under which conditions. The richness of data actually provides loads of clues how students are learning where they struggle but also where they do well, and this allows for targeted interventions to help students to maximize their potential. You can see that certain students feel quite isolated in certain instances, and what we want to do is, does it actually hamper them in terms of the learning, or what can we do to bring those students more into a community of learners?
Success for student support teams depends on us being able to make targeted interventions. To do that, we need effective data. And that information is going to be provided through the development of the student support team tool. The greater variety of data and the more automation of that data means that we will be able to use our resources far more effectively. It's fundamentally about more targeted, more personalised, tailored support to individual students or individual student cohorts.
Without clear visualisation, it's very difficult to see what the key priorities are. We're trying to cut through and pull out what's really important. But the real change now is on real-time analytics. For example, we're producing module activity maps. These show key points in the student journey. The self-service analytics portal will put some of the power in the hands of the end user, where they'll slice and dice through the data to look at different cuts, for example, by faculty, by programme.
The ethical issue is around the balance between transparency towards the student, what we tell them that we're doing with their information, and the need for the university to maintain a representative and robust data set. So the more open that we are, the more complex that we make the procedures and our policies to be transparent, the more problems that we introduce for ourselves internally. If we choose not to use analytics, then we're really doing the student a disservice, because we're making a decision not to use information that we hold about the student in order to help them to complete their studies.
We are piloting new methods based on machine learning to predict and identify students who are at risk. Each student who engage with VLE creates their trail through the module which we call fingerprints. Students who are within the fingerprint are likely to succeed. Students who are outside of the fingerprint are in potential risk of failing.
We're working very hard now on summarising the data, providing reports so that those who really need to use it can cut down the time it takes them and focus very much on the so what? What are we going to do about this? We're now teaching all our modules online, so we're getting to see, as students are studying, how they are responding to that teaching through their interaction with the online environment. This radically can change how we set up the experience for students as we start to be able to see how they respond.
The great thing that the Analytics project provides is a really exciting basis for a professional development community across the university. The community is a group of academics who have a single purpose, a core purpose. So this community is really important because we need to learn from each other. Because we've got so many students and so many different modules, we're able to develop a huge data source that enables us to work in a much more exciting way.
One of the great things about triangulating data from a lot of sources is that it gives you a much more human perspective and a much greater level of insight. And that's why we're building student tools to get actionable insights to the students, because they're closer to the learning, they can respond much faster than anyone else. The really key benefit from diagnostic assessments is that we can target advice and support to students who may struggle with a module, and we target that advice and support to them before they start to struggle on that module, and we get them onto a different module that's more appropriate.
I'm really excited about this project. It's a fantastic opportunity for this university, the sector, and most of all, our students.